One song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song, but then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang 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 gang, Lower with the gang 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 gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang gang, Lower with the gang gang gang. You know. Yeah. Whoa. East Coast with that gang gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast go ahead, stand up, put that glass and hands up. Gang, we famed up, got that change, we bagged up. Crew love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy, drip so sick I'm queasy, whoa. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask.
Simone and Swole.
You are in last.
A little earlier morning Swole today.
Yeah. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang. East Coast with the gang gang, West Coast with the gang gang, Lower with the gang gang. You know we don't play gang.
Coffee.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Test. Is this mic on? It's not fucking working. Is it working? Testing. Welcome everyone to episode 1004 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Welcome everyone to episode 104 of the Daily Sleaze. When you know, you don't know shit. So today's episode is very conceptual. It's going to get your mind thinking. It's going to tell you the truth about a lot of people and a lot of things that you hear. And it could be something that you don't want to hear, but it's still the truth. And it's just some real talk. It's some real shit, and no better time to start with some real shit than on a Schmonday. So if you're not ready for some real talk, you can go and listen to something else. Go watch Harry Potter for the 15th time if you don't want to watch El Papa Swolio. But we are going to trudge on anyway. We are moving forward. We are plowing through. We are slamming to the taint today. Love the Swole. Why, thank you. Instagram, thank you. Retro Mermaid? I appreciate it. Let's see. Is this mic working? Are we on? Testing testicles. Early one. That's right. Gotta leave soon for leg day. Nice. Who here got their pumpeth on today? Uh-oh. They got a burp coming. There we go. Ah, God, it's funny. Once I don't really talk that much during the day, to be honest. So this is usually when I get all that air out and my body's like, hey, we got something for you. While your mouth is open, we have some air we can replay. We can give back to the earth. So I share that with you. All right, who here is pumped already today? Who has pumped already today? Who has gotten their fucking gains on? My triceps are dead today. I pushed as much as I could. Good for you. Good for you. Following the lack of counting, not counting gains, just like episode 1, not counting gains anymore. So some new juice. Actually, just a few minutes ago, it's a little bit after 11. So brand new DWG. There's a brand new Driving While Gaining that just dropped on the YouTubes. So if you are not yet subscribed to Papa Swolio on YouTube, go check it out. So it's Swolenormous everywhere. You can go there, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you like and comment on the latest video. Just a fun one, as always. As always, YouTube is just fun. YouTube is fun. That's like a playground for me. That's a playground. I'll say and do whatever the fuck I want anywhere, honestly, but I take extra liberties there just because I feel like it. I feel like it. That's my place to go and stretch my wings and just say shit. So go there if you haven't checked it out yet. That's where you go. If you think I'm uncensored here, go check out the DWGs. So brand new one. Hey, how about them Patriots? I could not give less of a fuck who wins any football game, let alone the Super Bowl. But they did win, so congratulations. You did nothing. You watched them. If you're a Patriots fan, I know I thanked you for the compliment, but if you're a Patriots fan, you did nothing. You watched the game like everyone else. So you didn't do anything. How about them? How about the sky? How about Earth, fam? Whoa, how about that electromagnetic field? Whoa, shit. How about that gravity, son? How about them gravity? How about that gravity? How about that pull? How about that sun? How about that sun fucking giving us life every fucking day, giving us those photons, that photon game? How about that glowing star that is at the perfect fucking distance and the perfect size to give us life but not burn us or freeze us the fuck out? How about that shit? We don't talk about that enough. How about that amazing fact that we're actually in existence? So anyway, that kind of actually, ironically enough, that segues into this point for today's episode. That's actually a segue into this, believe it or not. What we got here? Let's check out Facebook. Gosh, what up? What up, Ish? Did cardio lifting this afternoon. Saw that. Loved it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm from Boston. Who gives a fuck? Just $1 billion. Yeah, well, everything's $1 billion industry. The food is $1 billion industry. Fitness is $1 billion. Everything makes $1 billion. Everything makes $1 billion. If it's decent, if people like it, if 1 in 5 people like it, it's $1 billion industry. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is, you know? And look, there's nothing wrong if you watched it. I actually watched part of it. I said I wasn't going to, but I had like sometimes when I'm editing late at night, sometimes when I'm doing stuff, I'll just play or I'll look at some news just for some context. So I did see like some clips and stuff while I was going on. But yeah, you know, actually I watched little parts of it and little clips for the marketing aspects. I'm always curious as to what people are doing. That's why, you know, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl. I don't know if anyone watches it for the commercials anymore. And I think the reason why Super Bowl commercials probably aren't as popular as they used to be, because the attention's not on TV. The attention's on the cell phone. So if you're doing good ads, like you use all your good content every day on Instagram and every day on Facebook and every day for that. I know you're trying to create new stuff for the Super Bowl commercials, but it doesn't have, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think that Super Bowl halftime commercials has that same kind of like excitement. Like you don't talk about that kind of stuff like you did 10 years ago, right? I don't think you talk about anything like you did 10 years ago. Nothing really holds any kind of attention. Nothing holds a lot of interest. It's really hard to hold anyone's interest. It's really hard to create something that's interesting enough, because there's so many things you can access. Before, when it was like 3 channels or 10 channels, remember when cable was like 50 channels and that was it? Yeah, maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but I remember when it was like fucking bunny ears and shit too. So now there's just so much stuff. There's a million fucking channels. And it's not like you're not at the subject of what is available. You used to only be able to watch what was on. Float some biceps. I know some of you old timers here. Come on, I'm not that old, but I remember. Do you remember when you had to watch what was on? You would check the TV guide, or you would check the fucking the cable, even on the TV. Even they had that when you had to look and be like, oh, it's not on till 7. Oh, it's not on. And then you had TiVo, and then you had like the DVRs and shit. You had to wait when it was fucking on. you're at the mercy of what they wanted you to watch. That's when like they had the control. That's when they could show you things. And it was exciting because you see boring shit the rest of the time. And then the big time commercials were exciting. Whoa, it's a Super Bowl or World Series commercial. Then that's when they went all in. Now there's just whatever you want to see, right? Like if you want to watch Irish shin kicking, you go on ESPN The Ocho and fucking watch that. You go on ESPN 12 or ESPN Universe, like you watch any sport at any time. You go on ESPN, you watch cricket. You can watch cricket on YouTube nonstop. You can even stream cricket live. Anyone fucking does that. Like you can do that at any time you want. You can watch any game of any time. You can watch a replay of any game, a World Series game from 15 years ago. You could just type it into YouTube and just watch it. So you have endless choices, even for things, just anything. So first off, the fact that you all are here right now, like I'm so grateful. I don't care if there's one person or there's 50 or 100 or 1,000. I'm grateful for every single one of you that listens to the podcast. If you're only listening right now, you're not live. If you're live, the same thing. I love the fact that you're here and we're doing this together. It's exciting when you think about it. There's like a fucking trillion things that you could be on any website right now. You could be listening to any podcast. I know I'm not the only podcast out there. I'm not the only podcast. Everyone and their fucking mother, just like how everyone and their fucking mother and cousin's a personal trainer, everyone's a bartender, everyone's got a podcast now. You can just turn on your phone and have a podcast. So the fact that you're all here and you're checking this out, thank you. And those of you that are listening to at home or in the car or wherever, what up, Papa Swole? Here's a little electronic taint rub. I'll just rub your little taint a little bit. Yeah. You feel that? Yeah. Rubbing your your ear taint. So thank you. Oh, let's see. All right. So that was weird. I mean, I guess when you think it can't get any weirder on this podcast, it gets weirder. So strap in, fam. It's going to get fucking crazy today. So anyway, if you listen to my other podcast, oh yeah, that's right. Did anyone not know that I had a second podcast? So I do 2 podcasts. And this podcast, obviously the Daily Swole, this is more of a long form in general. Long form, we do some interviews, we do the podcast. We do this. We do this, and I have the topics, and we talk about, we do the Q&A. We do this, Daily Swole. Obviously, you know what we do. This is the 1,004th day in a row of doing this. So I also have another podcast. It's called the Swolenormous Audio Experience, and you can find that. You type in Swolenormous on iTunes or Spotify. It's everywhere, too. And the link, I also have links in my highlights on my Instagram profile. It says Audio XP, Audio Experience. And literally, it's everything else. Like I will post, I've been saying I'll post some throwback episodes, but that's like where I'll post all my other content. Like I'll do 5-minute podcasts. I'll do a little thoughts of the day. I'll do a little breakdown, little rants here and there. It's almost every day. It's every couple days, if anything, but it's really whenever I feel like it. So that's like my playground podcast where I'll do whatever, but it's really raw. It's unedited. A lot of times there isn't even intros. I just fucking post shit. Okay. So it's literally like audio Twitter for me. And today I did some kind of like incoherent rant because literally, here we go. Literally, I was up all night and I don't recommend, and I did this, I don't know. I did this as kind of a weird thing, but I'm trying to reset my sleep schedule because I've been up super late last few nights and sleep is so fucking important. And I hate it when I'm off a schedule because I feel so much more productive when I'm up early, and that's just how I feel. I like it better. I'm productive at night. I'm really creative at night. But at the same time, when I'm up early and I crush a workout and I get the day running, we do early morning swoles, I just feel good and I'm rocking throughout the entire day. So anyway, bottom line, go listen to that podcast. I'm not sure if it even makes sense. Not even really sure if it makes sense. And I think I said that a couple times because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't even know if what I'm saying actually has any kind of coherence or flow. But when you're done with this podcast, go check it out. If you're not subscribed to that podcast, make sure you subscribe to that too. But check out that episode and let me know if it didn't make sense. If it did make sense, I'd love to hear what you thought. But it was about morning person, night person, and just some stuff we've talked about before. And I've talked about even on the audio experience before about getting up early. Because a lot of times when I'll drop a podcast, I'll drop one of those is on my way to the gym super early. I'll be inspired and my brain's on. I'm fucking amped to go to the gym and I'll leave like, boom, I'll drop a podcast on the audio experience. So that's cool. You can check that out. New video or new podcast there. And plus the new YouTube video on my channel, new DWG. So today's topic, when you know shit. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Congratulations on 1,000. Thank you, dude. So when you know shit. All right. Here's what I just wanted to talk about this today. And here's the thing. There's a lot of knowledge out there. I think we can agree on that. Now, there isn't, I don't want to say there's necessarily more knowledge. Like there's always more knowledge. We're always learning more or new ideas are cropping up. Agreed? With the internet, and especially in the last few years, as the internet has just become social media and everything, just pretty much our communication capacity and the ability to spread knowledge, information, misinformation, thoughts, rants, driving while gainings, daily swoles. This is the ability for people to put shit out there. Okay? It's kind of like pollution. It's kind of like pollution and clouds. Whereas if it's a cloudy day, the sun is still shining. We see a cloudy day, we kind of be like, oh, fuck, it's gloomy outside. The sun is still doing its thing. Nothing has changed, only our perception of what's going on. Oh, it's a cloudy day. No, it's sunny. There's just clouds up there. It's the same sunny day as it is every fucking day. There's nothing in space. There's nothing there. The sun is beating down on Earth the same way it always is. There's just a little bit of like some clear fucking cloud. There's, moisture, whatever the hell's in a cloud. And is blocking and it's reflecting the rays, so we don't get as much sun, and et cetera, et cetera. So go Google that if you're interested in the science behind that. But the sun, nothing's changing. It's just our perception, right? So when it comes to knowledge and information is kind of like a cloud. It's a cloud. It's a dust. There's just so much of it. And it's blocking out the sun. And you could think of the sun as truth. The sun is truth, or the sun is the best way, or the best, let's just call it truth. We don't know what the truth is. We don't know. First off, we don't know what we're doing here on Earth. So if that's not freaky enough, you can fucking chew on that. But when it comes to all these details that we're still figuring out, the reason why there's so many podcasts, the reason why there's so many articles and blogs and videos and books about nutrition and exercise, and they keep on coming out and discussing, and scientists are discovering and talking about things they're studying and this. Do you know why they're doing that? It's because we don't know. I want to repeat that. The reason why people keep on writing books and doing research and science and having opinions, the reason why there are so many fucking opinions and angles and people talking about, right, their voices or proponents, it's because we don't know. We don't know. It doesn't mean any of them are wrong, and it doesn't mean all of them are right. It just means there's a lot of fucking shit out there, and we don't know. If we knew, we wouldn't be researching them as fervently. I know there's a lot of detailed science, so you can probably make an argument that this is not true, but I don't think we're arguing or fighting the concept of gravity too much. We pretty much have that figured out as far as all the order of the universe and what we're aware of. If we discover something groundbreaking in the next 100 years, okay, we redefine that, but we understand, we know how to use technology. Obviously, we have advanced quite a lot in our recent history. I think we take for granted the fact that we have all this technology. And if you remember, 20 years ago, no one knew what a fucking cell phone was. Like a cordless phone, you had to have a suitcase. Did you think that in 20 years you'd be fucking talking to someone on this little square? And not only that, but I have a few of them. I have a few fucking cell phones. Granted, I only use one for my cell service. I'm not like a baller, like, yeah, I got iPhones on iPhones, bitch. No, I have one that I stream on Instagram that I use as like my Instagram streaming phone. I have one that I talk, and I have this other one that I use for like recording some videos. I just throw it in my bag and I don't care if it gets fucked up. But it's just like the amazing progress. Like, it's fresh. My point. It's fresh. It's new. It's brand new. This nutrition shit, all this stuff that everyone's like, no, vegan is the best. This is the best. The entire world was fucking sold on this high carb vegetable oil shit until like the last 5 or 10 years. Yeah, there's some people that knew or were doing the opposite long before, but that was before you had information. Like, we are so fucking new into all of this proper nutrition and longevity. We're so new into all this. We're new. That is why I don't write diet plans. That is why I don't say eat this, eat that, do this, do that when it comes to nutrition. I want to guide you and explain how I went through my process to find foods that help me perform better, make me feel better, and I share that with you. And you can cross-check that. Most places and most professionals that know what the fuck they're talking about, quote, know, but that are intelligent enough to not try to push a certain thing on you, but educate you, will say the same thing. There's a lot of bio-individuality. That's the term. The term for nutrition, it's bio-individuality. Okay? Just because we all have arms, and I talked about this in my last Instagram and Facebook post. It was based on a quote from episode, I believe it was 773. And I actually posted a throwback link for Apple Podcast peeps in my Instagram story. You can swipe up. So what I'm going to do that, just because most of you listen on Apple Podcast, I don't have all the links for all the old episodes. But so the vast majority of everyone that downloads my podcast is on Apple. So most of the swipe up links are for Apple. So anyone else, apologies. But I'm going to start doing that when I post a new post that's based on a quote from a previous episode. I'm doing swipe ups for that in my story. If it's recent, if it's a recent RSS feed, or if it's an old classic one, I might re-embed that on the website or send you to SoundCloud or something, wherever that's hosted. Some of the older ones, because the feed only goes back so far on Apple and so forth. However, the point being that we are so new into all this, and there's so much bio-individuality from person to person. And I want you to think about animals. So animals, a lot of people will say, well, how can you talk about two people that are like the same person genetically? You know, you're going to say that one person can be vegan and one person can't be. You know, we have the same digestive system. We can't be that different. Absolutely, we fucking can be. First off, we're not like any other species on Earth. Okay? What other species is everywhere in the entire world? Usually species are regional. They're in one area. They're in Africa. They're in Eastern Europe. They're in South America. They're in North America. And they're different. Okay? Human beings, albeit looking the same, it's similar to that. You might have large cats in North America, in Africa, but you have humans, and now what's going on, what's different and what's, quote, unique, is that we were separated. We evolved and have different genetic structures because we are on different continents. We're separated. But then when we started traveling, and now travel is so popular and moving and living in different locations, now we have all sorts of different mixing. It used to be you have your tribe, you would breed and have your tribe, and that's it. But then we have, you know, all this crossover with cultures and people marrying and having offspring with different cultures. Like, we're really mixed up in all different things. That's why the genetics and the stuff that we're looking up now in terms of epigenetics, we talked about this on the podcast before, epigenetics and all these new fields of study that are really going deep into this. That's why the genetic stuff is so popular now, because they're figuring out a lot of shit that we didn't have the technology and the science to figure out when it comes to nutrition. And we've talked many times before about ancestral, going back. I posted the other day that nutrition is one of the few things that we're kind of creating. We're like, to modernize nutrition, we're going backwards. And now, of course, we're coming out with some new forms of supplementation and things. And when I talk about supplements and supplements being bullshit in a lot of ways, there's a lot of fucking crap supplements, but there are a lot of ones that are coming out that are, you know, specific, like micronutrients and minerals and things that can be beneficial. But I'm talking about the big ones sucking down all your BCAAs and all your flavored shit. If you're going to do stuff, you got to do it the right way. You want to do it as clean as possible, and you want to do it as nature would intend in any realistic form. All right. You don't need tons of fucking food colorings and all this shit. I'm still hell-bent and always will be on what you're eating is the most important thing. You have to be fucking eating the right stuff. So anyway, as we go through and as all this information is around and around and growing and growing and growing, and we're learning more and we're sharing more and we're passing more, and then we're going different directions, and it's what we know is changing. And what happens is, when you know something, or when you have a stand, or you make a profile, for example, and it's a vegan, and I'm using vegan just because vegan's like one of the most ideological groups when it comes to any kind of fitness or nutrition thing. It's like vegan, or you have, I guess you could say, CrossFit. Anytime when there's like kind of like this cultish club, like, you know, this, so people that are fucking diehard that will cut your throat before they agree that there's any other possibility, right? Vegan, carnivore, any of these extreme groups, or any one that takes anything to extreme. So you have people that are just keto, and like all their names, we've talked about this the other day, everything in their name, their screen name is keto this, or keto lifestyle, or this lifestyle, or paleo boy, or, you know, vegan for life. And that's everything. That's their identity. There's no conversing with those people. There's no debating. There's no conversation because they're so dug in. People just get defensive and angry. And it's more like, you know, when you don't want to change, when you don't want to learn, when you don't want to open your mind and expand, nothing's going to happen. You can't teach someone, or you can't learn something if you're not willing to learn. Does that make sense? Everyone's really quiet right now. Am I just being really entrancing? Am I capturing your attention? I want to make sure I'm still streaming here. But people tend to just dig in. The wall goes up, and then just nothing moves forward. It just comes out as anger and emotion. But whenever you know, and you think you know, it's more about your approach and your attitude. Like, you can know you can know something. I know things, and you know things. Okay? I know things, and you know things. You know things that I don't know, and I know things that you don't know. However, when I learn something new, oh, now I know something else. And maybe what I used to know wasn't as good as what I know now. It's called learning. And I think what is a huge problem is the education system. We all come out of it. Not everyone goes to college. I'm not saying whether or not you have to, or college is good or bad, but we come up, at least through high school, when you're taught to spit back information. You're not taught how to think. You're taught how to regurgitate an answer. You're taught how to be a robot. You're taught to say, you know, write this when I ask this. Okay. You know, it starts with numbers. 2 + 2 is 4. You know, only at higher levels of math, you start learning these are imaginary numbers and unreal numbers and make believe. You're like, what the fuck is that? An unreal number? An imaginary number? Remember that in math? Like, I even forget what that is. Like, you divide by 0, it's undefined. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, the higher you go with math and with that kind of it's not 2 + 2 is 4. It becomes like other things, like, well, 2 + 2 = 4, but in a quantum unit, it's like, what the you can go off. So you're taught just to answer. You're taught just to be like, oh, that's the answer. Multiple choice. How fucking droning is that? Circle C, Z. The fact that you can take a test and just put B, C, B, C, B, C, and maybe pass is just ludicrous. It means nothing. So you're not taught how to think. You're taught how to spit back information. So when these human beings, all of us and people in society, when you get out of that school system and you go out into the world, it's not what you learn, because you realize that you just learn so much. You forget most of the stuff that you took tests on. I fucking forget most of the stuff. We all do, because it sucks. We're not interested in it. It wasn't taught properly. We were just put through a fucking machine. However, what does linger is how you are taught, the method of your absorption of information. Okay? When people graduate high school or college, how many people continue to learn? No, learning is forced upon you. It's forced upon you with books and shit and all the textbooks. Remember those fucking things? At least kids that are getting education now, they can take out their phone or iPad. Remember having fucking 30 goddamn fucking books, and they were 9,000 pages? It was like carrying around half an encyclopedia all the time. Okay? Shit you don't want to learn shit that's boring, books that you don't want to read, but textbooks that are written for children. Remember those fucking books? They were unreadable. They were absolutely unreadable. Miserable. How many of you read a textbook right now? Exactly. No one wants to read a fucking textbook because they're fucking miserable. They're miserable. It's not interactive. You're not engaged in the material. So aside from getting down a rabbit hole on how people should be learning, let's talk about the method. You're not inspired to educate yourself. You're taught things, spit this back out, good, go out into the world. It's almost like, I think because the system fucks you over so bad. I think because learning and this whole idea that when you're in school, you're learning, or that's what they call it, but you fucking hate it. So then when you graduate, the last thing you want to do is, quote, learn. Think about it. You're resentful to knowledge. People get resentful for learning. They have resentment towards all those years in school because they sucked. What do you remember about high school? You remember a shitty teacher or a fucking bully or your first girlfriend. Like, you remember the things. You don't remember the fucking education. You remember you remember the major events. You remember the idea, but that stuff disappears. You have those memories, but the real shit that's ingrained is how you were taught, just to spit back, how you were taught to resent education. Most people were taught, not directly like you should hate learning, no, but just the method and how it's forced upon you. You have to get up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning as a child on no sleep. You're fucking doing work all fucking day that you hate. You're home. You have to do homework for shit that you fucking hate. You don't get exercise. You're pumped full of fucking sugar and garbage. You're sitting in a chair listening to some old person drone about the fucking Romans. Who gives a fuck what the Romans did? Let's talk about fucking life, right? So you're like resentful towards education. So you don't continue learning. People don't continue learning. That's what's beautiful about things like this podcast and other podcasts. Like there are amazing podcasts out there. You want to listen to some amazing fucking history? Go download one of those history podcasts. Hardcore History is amazing. I know a lot of you listen to some other great podcasts. Joe Rogan's podcast obviously is like the most popular one. And, it's just, you can learn so much from different people. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. And at the same time, there's a lot of shitty ones. But the fact now is there's different modalities to learn. So if you like to learn by listening, there's serious education in podcasts. If you love to learn by reading, I mean, obviously you could read blogs, you can read books, you can read this, right? You can, if you like listening, download Audible and you can listen to books, right? You like to, whatever. You can listen and learn and grow and expand your knowledge in so many different ways. So that resentment for learning is ingrained. It's not taught directly, but we resent it because we're forced to as we're growing up. We're forced to do shit we don't like and to learn shit we don't like. Now, there's also some benefit to that because if you're not exposed to shit you don't like, you don't learn what you do like. So you have to try things. So, I mean, you're sitting in history class. I fucking hate history. I mean, if you love history, you're probably going to love school and history in school. Like, oh shit, I love that. Whether or not you should be a history major, that's a whole other fucking conversation, but you might just do well in class and enjoy it because you like that so much. I mean, I enjoyed my exercise science, but they fucking sucked, but I enjoyed the topic. So I did better in those classes because obviously I enjoyed anatomy. I mean, I didn't do well in anatomy. I didn't do well in it because I didn't care. It was boring as fuck. Anatomy was boring as shit. It's just fucking boring. The microscope and the cells and it just oozes with just generic shit. When it got to kinesiology, fucking hell, I got an A. I love that stuff. The visual. I mean, just the way I learn, I was in school fucking a couple years ago because I was thinking about going back and, I took organic chemistry and I fucking aced organic chemistry. My mind works very creative. I can picture 3D and the action, I mean, my brain just works like that. So that class, it was hard, but I mean, I crushed it. I mean, it worked for me, but that just happens by chance if you're going through the system. So my point is with this whole episode is people that dig in, that say that they know. If you listen to quality podcasts and you listen to doctors and people that are doing research, people that are real intellectuals that are trying to figure things out, notice how they answer questions. If you listen to other people's podcasts, I want you to listen to people that answer questions when they're truly in search of something that's the best way. It's always open-ended, isn't it? I mean, seriously, it's always open-ended. It's always, well, the latest research is showing this, that, and the other. It's never, this is the best. It's like, well, either they are transparent, like, well, I like it, I'm not necessarily recommending it to someone else, but I do this. The latest, some research shows, oh, there's some promising stuff about this. The people that are actually figuring this stuff out, no one's planting a flag. No one ever is like cemented, like, this is the best way. This is it. I'm right. People don't say that shit because what's right today in 10 years could be wrong. Okay? Could be fucking wrong. And I'm completely open. When you have all signs that are pointing to one thing, it's like, okay, well, that's what it is so far. Doesn't mean that it's not going to change. And I think because people talk about it, if you make a career about one thing, if you make a career about being keto, you make a career about being vegan, and all of a sudden, let's say they find conclusive proof that being vegan or eating meat, what if they come, like, it doesn't exist. So this is just, we're just supposing, what if meat, period, red meat, what if that's like literally, I don't care if it's grass-fed, what if it is proven to be the worst thing you could possibly do? And they have proof. If that's even, I'm sure it will be possible to determine if there's any kind of proof, and it's going to depend on DNA and all this stuff, obviously. But what if there was? Then obviously we have to reconvene and discuss that. But that's what knowledge is about. Okay? I don't like it when people are spouting, this is the best way. No, I'm just a vegan. I'm a carnivore. You don't fucking know. You can do it all you want. I mean, this is how people figure shit out. You try and you experiment. Cool. Like, it's cool. It's cool to try things. It's cool to try things. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that some people react better to other things. There's also a ton of fucking evidence that shows you can go carnivore or vegan for years and feel better at first and then have it fuck you up in 5 years from major deficiencies that just aren't life-threatening in the first couple years. Like, they've discussed that in depth as well. So when you're doing any kind of major elimination of any food group, it might not bite you in the ass right away. And we've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast, that when you're going from eating shit to any of these fad diets, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to see progress. When you're never working out to exercising, I don't care what program you're doing, as long as you do it safely. Let's say you're doing CrossFit or you're running or you're walking or you're doing yoga or you're lifting or power, whatever you do, you're going to lose some weight. You're going to build some muscle. I mean, today's the quote that I posted, I think it literally said, you can build muscle in so many different fucking ways. Totally true. You can build muscle in so many different ways. You absolutely don't have to do it in any fucking specific fashion. In any specific fashion. Okay? All those people that you see, you're like, oh, well, if you do a bro split, you're not going to build muscle. When you're natural, you're not going to build as much protein. Shut the fuck up. That's not true. I don't care what study you're referring to. I know because I've done tons of splits in my programming, and I'm natural, and I've done it for years, and I built plenty of muscle. So you have people running around saying the best thing to do is total body or full body. Find what works best for you, but I'll be fucking damned if that's any kind of proof, because it's just not. It's not. You can build muscle in so many different ways. And people get really defensive. They'll plant their flag in one thing. They get one article or one study or one thing that they can plant their flag in. Fine. It doesn't mean you can't see progress doing other things. The point being that you have to mix things up. You have to learn and change things. But you have to be willing to put in the effort. You have to be willing to put in the time to figure out what's best for you. And it's very easy. And I think that's why people plant their flag, because it's easier to pick a side, pick a team, whatever it is, whether we talk about nutrition or training. It's very easy to pick a side, plant your flag, and be like, you know what? Fuck everyone else. This is the right way. This is the right way. This is it. This is it. This is the way to do it. Yeah, I know what they say, but fuck that person. No, this is it. This is the way. This is the best way. And then you change your screen name and this, and then that's all you preach and talk, and that's all you do. That's all you do. It's easier to do that. It's easier to cut things off. Oh, the earth is round. The earth is flat. This is that. We went to the... It's easy to just fucking pick something and then block out the noise and just get louder. It's easier to do that. It's easier to fucking block it out and just yell louder. Because a lot of people feel like the louder you yell, the more right you are. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If you're actually pursuing something better, you change. You change. Okay? Now, I change. I change regularly. I'm adaptable. I'll change my opinions on things. I'll change what I feel. I'll change what I think. I'll add things to my diet. I'll take things away. I'll change. Are you willing to change? Are you willing to keep an open mind? Are you willing to try new things? Are you willing to invest that kind of effort to figure out what's best for your body? Most people aren't willing to put in that kind of effort. They just want to follow something because it's easier. And I get it. It's easier to follow a bouncing ball. It's easier to just, okay, eat this. Exactly. Cool. But that's not the best thing for you. So do you want something that's easy and not going to give you great returns with your health or physique, most likely? Or do you want it to be a little more challenging and perhaps very challenging, but extremely rewarding with long-lasting positive results? What do you want the outcome to be? Unfortunately, most people want that first part. They want, hey, I just want it quick and easy, and if I don't get results, fine. But then they're the same people that complain that, hey, I tried everything, it didn't work. No fucking shit, because you're taking the easy way out. You're looking for a fucking answer that doesn't exist. Okay? You have to put in that kind of work. You have to figure shit out. You have to take some investment in your time, your energy. And information is free. You just need to take some time and figure it out. It's free. All this stuff is free. Everything that I said in all these 1,000 episodes, it's free. You can find what I say other places on the internet. I'm just saying a lot of these things. But you can find all of it. And it's not expensive. It's all, if you're going to buy all these supplements and things like that, it gets expensive, of course, because you're purchasing a lot of extra stuff. Certain foods can be more expensive. You can make so many health benefits just by eliminating shit. Just by eliminating shit. Cutting the bad stuff out of your diet. Start moving more. You don't have money for a gym membership? Well, good news. You don't need a gym membership to build muscle. You don't. Now, if you want to be a bodybuilder and build a massive physique, you're going to have to lift something. You're going to have to do something for overload if you want to build muscles and build bigger muscles. Do you need a gym? No, you can fucking lift tree trunks and do, it's going to be a little bit more random. You know, there's benefits to having weights and even weights and balancing, but life isn't all organized and structured. So you can go and fucking lift stones and do like strongman type shit. You might not build a completely balanced physique like you would if you lifted balanced weights and it was organized and programmed, but you can fucking build muscle. You could build muscle with body weight. You could build muscle doing pull-ups and push-ups. You could build muscle in so many fucking ways. But if you're doing just random shit here and there, you're more likely to plateau. You're more likely to maybe overtrain. You're more likely to maybe not give your body enough rest. If you're doing random shit, what that means is you're going and you're just exhausting yourself or you're using energy. And that's the difference between exercising or just working out and a program and approaching or in training, if you want to call it like that. So training has this underlying, okay, there's a structure. You're training, you're doing something for a result. If you're exercising, I could just do a fucking 50 jumping jacks and do 20 burpees and then do 5 squats and do a plank for a minute. That's exercise. It obviously is physical activity. It's not bad for you. Is it going to burn calories? Sure. Is it going to metabolize fats? Like, yeah. Is it going to build some muscle? Maybe a little bit. But muscle building or a specific result has to do with certain types of overload. And, there's different, your body has to adapt. So if you're doing random shit, one day you're doing cycling, the other day you're going for a run, the other day you're lifting weights, the other day you're, doing yoga. You'll get a little bit of everything, no doubt about it, but you could also get hurt because you're not mastering any one movement. That's a risk for doing a lot of random stuff. You don't develop any specific proficiency in any one thing, and your lack of mastery in a specific area might cause you to overtrain or not have the skill to maneuver a certain, if there's some kind of like skill involved in like a power lift and you don't really do it all the time and you're doing, you could be at a higher risk for injury because you're not proficient. Your body isn't recovered enough because you're doing a lot of random stuff. It depends. There's a risk walking down the fucking street. So you don't have to live in a bubble either, but it's really important what you're trying to accomplish. And a lot of people just go and they do exercise, do random shit, and they expect, oh, well, how come I'm not getting results? Well, because like, what do you think you're doing? You're just doing random stuff. You think just moving your body is going to get you the physique? If you want a physique, which most people tend to want because you see Instagram and people want to look a certain way, okay, nothing wrong with that. But if you want to look a certain way, that's different than performance. That's different than health. Like looking a certain way can have crossover with health and have crossover with performance. But as you know, a professional bodybuilder, if that's the way you want to look, you're taking a lot of fucking drugs and stuff. You're not doing shit the healthy way. That's extreme low body fat, not healthy. Extreme muscle mass, not healthy. Like those extremes aren't healthy. That's why they're extremes. They're not in that range of what's natural for a human, what's good for the organs, especially with all this extra stuff you're taking. You're going to extremes. But there's definitely ways to cross over. So you have to figure out what you want. You have to understand that your training needs to go towards what your goal is. And if you don't know how to train for your given goal, then you need to get on some type of a program or some type of a regimen that will take you there. Okay. And you have to understand that it's a learning process. The entire world is like one big brain, especially with the internet. It's like collective understanding. It's collective knowledge. And that's always changing. And there's good information and there's bad information. And it's like a fucking plasma of just stuff kind of floating around. And you have to have antennas for things that are beneficial. So if you're just looking for answers, there's a billion fucking answers. Okay? A trillion even. And pay attention to this. If you've listened to 5 minutes, 30 minutes, almost an hour, listen to this part right here. Okay? There's a billion answers out there because a lot of people like to sell you a solution. Okay. That's what businesses are. Businesses are, well, what's the problem that people have? Okay. Let me create a product that solves that problem. What's your pain point? What can I solve for you? Okay. So it's easy for a company to make money by like, you got a problem? You want to lose fat? Boom. I got a fat burner for you. You take this pill, it's going to burn fat. Convenient, right? Good solution. I want to gain weight. How should I gain weight? I got something for you too, bruh. Here's a weight gainer. You take this, you're going to gain weight. I got you, bro. I got you. You want to focus better? Hold on. Take this pill. It'll help you focus better. It's good for your brain, son. It's good for your brain. And I'm not saying that some of those don't work, but you see where I'm going? Like, it's just, they're like for the nutrition, for something like they're just creating products it's easy. You don't know if they fucking work. If you think you're getting more focus, you're probably going to feel more focused. Like, I'm taking this, and I got so much work done. Well, it's because you took a pill and you started working. Like, was it a placebo effect or did it really help you focus? Or maybe you can't tell. Who knows? Some of these things out there, some of these supplements you can take, there's certain ones that can be beneficial for sure. All right. But you have to know what you need. And you don't know just by taking shit. Not everyone needs everything. There's so much shit out there that's bullshit, and there's so much shit that might be good for some people, just like food. Some people can use more protein. Some people shouldn't be having as much. Some people can use more fats. Some people shouldn't be having as much fats. Some people need more of this, not other people. But we don't have good information. We're not getting good information from our medical system. We're not getting the right blood work done. We've talked about this so many times. That's why. And a lot of this stuff can get expensive. Getting blood panels done, getting genetic testing done. These things can get expensive. And it doesn't mean that just because it's expensive doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that most people can't afford that. Most people can't spend all this money on all these different things. So what can you do for free? You can cut out the fucking shit. That's free. Eating less of the bad food, that's fucking free. Eating less food overall, if you're trying to lose weight or shed fat, that's fucking free. Eating less. Stop stuffing your fucking face. Stop eating the bad foods. Cut back on some of the highly inflammatory and the fucking problem foods. Reset a little bit. Start from scratch and then see what works best for your body. You have to give yourself some fucking love, attention, and some effort. So the money cannot be a restriction for you. It can't be. It's so easy for someone to sell a solution when it comes in a powder or a pill or a bar, or it's all pre-made and ready for you. That's why when I talk about nutrition, when I talk about fitness, when I talk about, especially about nutrition, those of you that are Swolenormous X members, it is a guide. It is, come on in, let's start by cutting out these foods. Let's start out by adding a couple of these that can help repair your fucking system. Let's start thinking about food differently. Let's stop thinking about things as restriction, as a restrictive diet. Let's start thinking about diet as a way of eating and loving the food and loving your body enough to do the things, to learn the things, and to adapt in order to treat it the way it deserves so it can serve you better for longer. That's how you should, that's a solution. Not as easy to package that one, is it? Not as easy. I can't put that in a pill. That's my personal approach, and a lot of other professionals have a similar approach. You can't put that in a pill. You can't put that in a bar. You can't put that in a powder. You can't. You can't put that in a powder. So I am asking you, and those of you that are coming in, those are entering Swolenormous X, especially from that aspect, you have to be ready to approach your fitness differently. You have to be ready psychologically to approach your nutrition differently. You have to be willing to change your relationship with nutrition, with your food, right? With your training, with your people around you, with yourself. You have to be open-minded and willing to change how you think. And the reason why it's so fucking hard to do that is because you're taught to resent change. You're taught to resent anything that differs from what you were told in a fucking classroom. You are programmed. Pay attention. Sit down. Do this. Answer this. This is the answer. No, you're wrong. Like there was no, you were in a fucking box and you were taught, you were programmed. That's a better word. You were programmed. You were trained to resent fucking learning new shit. You were programmed to be a fucking drone. You were programmed to just, this is the answer. No, that's probably bullshit. Oh, that's the news. That's that. And that's wrong because it wasn't on TV. I don't believe that person. You have to think for yourself. And you're smart. You're smart. You have to use your brain. Use your brain. Use your thoughts. Expand your mind. But anywhere, in any case, you have to be willing to do that. If you want true health for you, everyone's going to want something different. Not everyone has to care about being as healthy as possible. Not everyone has to want to get huge. Not everyone has to want to lose weight. Do whatever you want, but you have to understand that this is how it works. You don't have to do it any one specific way. And the last thing I would do is trust anyone that thinks they fucking know everything, because those are usually the people that are really trying to slip one in your drink, if you know what I'm saying. So we're learning stuff all the time. There's a lot of great stuff coming out, and I really do feel like the next 10, 20 years is going to be fucking night and day. Like, you think we learned so much in technology so far and nutrition and all this stuff, the next 10 or 20 years is going to be ridiculous, especially at this pace and what they're coming out with now. So there's a lot of exciting stuff, and the only thing it's going to do is benefit everyone. It's only going to benefit people. Now, you could be negative about it. You could be scared. You could be, I wish it was the way it was. And you could be afraid of technology all you want, but you may as well embrace it because it's not going anywhere. You can't hide from it. And it's going to be used for a lot of good as well. Just because you don't like using Facebook and, oh, there's so much bullshit on Facebook. First off, delete your fucking friends and customize your account so you don't see that bullshit. Anyone that complains about Facebook and they see too much shit, they've never just gone into their settings and tweaked it. You can delete anyone. You can program who you want to see, what you don't want to see. you can customize the fuck out of it. So anyone that doesn't use social media because people see what they post, this and the other, they're not too smart, or they just never clicked on the button that says settings and changed all their settings in there. So you can do whatever you want, but we're only moving forward as a society. And especially when it comes to this kind of information, you need to keep an open mind. You need to keep an open mind. You need to understand that there's a lot of stuff that you don't know. And there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. And there's a lot of stuff in this fucking world that no one knows. That's even the scarier part. When you think about the universe and shit, there's a lot of shit that no one fucking knows. And you're like, holy crap, no one fucking knows that? Well, they're doing a lot of research now about a lot of things because we don't know. That's why you research things. That's why you do tests. That's why you do surveys. That's why you do these studies. You know why? Because people don't know things. If we knew them, why would we do studies over and over again? No one does a study on shit that we know. You do a study to either reinforce something to make sure or to test it again because we're not sure yet. I mean, that's what do you think research is? The fact that there is still research going on, the fact there are still papers and there's still the reason is because we don't know. The reason why there's a million fucking supplements in the store, it's because no one knows which ones fucking work or not. Some people do. The really, really smart people might know, but then we don't know, okay, is that for everyone? Is that for some people? We have to test that. There's a lot of question marks, okay? So you have to understand that you need to be open-minded to things, but fundamentally, here's how everything that I said, it can either blow your mind, you're like, fuck, what the hell now what do I do? I'm even more confused. Now what do I do? It all comes down to like your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing. If you're coming at your training and you want to do it the right way and you really want to be healthy, that information's there. You can really make some great decisions and it doesn't cost you extra money. Okay? It's not eating the bad foods, and we all know what those fucking foods are. It's not about that. It's not about eating. It is about that. It's about not eating junk foods and fucking foods that are just full of fucking chemicals. It's about exercising more. Now, how much, how often, come on, everyone's different. Everyone's goal is different. Everyone's time constraints are different. You know, maybe all you have is 30 minutes 3 times a week, and that's literally all you have. Okay, you're not going to be a pro fucking bodybuilder with that kind of commitment level because you're just not able to put enough time or you're not prioritizing. Fine. Can you be healthier by exercising and eating? Of course. Of course. Can you see progress 30 minutes 3 times a week? Of course. It just depends on what your goals are and how realistic and what, right? I mean, you have to understand like what you're doing, what you're able to do, what your goals are, and they have to match. And that's another problem that we can talk about for another episode. I mean, a lot of those things don't match. People want these amazing fucking goals, but then they offer up bullshit commitment. What do you think's going to happen? 30 minutes, 3 days a week. Amazing fucking results? You think you get amazing results? It depends on where you're starting from. If you've never worked out before in your life, 30 minutes, 3 days a week is going to be a huge fucking difference. You went from never working out to working out an hour and a half a week. Yeah, you're going to see progress. You're eventually going to plateau. Also depends on your nutrition. If you've never worked out and never eaten healthy and all of a sudden you went on like a keto diet or a paleo diet or vegan and you started exercising from 0 to an hour and a half a week, is there any shock that you're going to drop water weight, that you're going to lose weight or feel better? Of course you are, because you're finally taking care of your body. And then people stop seeing results and they crash and they kind of get exhausted after a couple of weeks because their body's changing their gut biome and they're, and then it gets less glamorous and people lose that emotion that they started with and all that excitement and they end up quitting. That's what people do, right? They go too extreme and they fucking can't handle it, and they quit too early and then they rebound. That's what people do. That's the natural yo-yo effect, right? So yeah, that's it. It's just really something that we have to have more of an open awareness about when it comes to information. And it's really hard for you or for me. That's why I don't speak on things that I haven't done myself, or I don't really poke around with a lot, or if I don't know off the top of my head. Usually if it's a natural product or it's something you can find, there's so many natural remedies and natural anti-inflammatories and natural things that are out there already that it's important to go towards the real shit first before you start fucking around with all these extras. It's important to really be invested in your personal health. And that has that aspect and that aura of it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take your emotional investment in the outcome. And if you're emotionally invested and you're prepared to dig in and like, I really want to do this, I really want to do better and improve, then you got that. You got the ability to do that, but you have to be willing to do it the right way and to pursue it and to adjust and to try and to test and to learn how to learn and keep an open mind and understand that not only do you not know everything, but no one knows everything. So it's time to fucking turn the heat. On Instagram, opinion on SARMs. I don't take any of that shit. I'd be sketched out to take anything that's called a research chemical. A lot of people have had a lot of bad experiences with it. It's like any kind of like things like test boosters. I wouldn't take any of that shit. If anything, you need testosterone replacement, I mean, do the real thing, but do it with your doctor, get the real stuff, and do it under guidance with like, blood work and stuff like that, making sure you're doing it safely. But I wouldn't take any of that stuff. I wouldn't recommend it. I have heard some things like people say that SARMs could be good for this. And I don't know. No one does. No one has any real conclusive shit as far as I'm aware of. So everyone's kind of their own human test. Literally, no pun intended. Let's see. Bow, bow, bow. Do I drink coffee black? I love black coffee. Either coffee black or bulletproof. If I'm not eating, if I'm doing some kind of like fasting or I'm just not eating calories, then I won't do the butter and the oil. I like black coffee too. I just love coffee. I love coffee. Let's see here. Because I just get cheap coffee. Don't cheap out on the coffee. Get some good coffee. Get some good coffee. You don't want, cheap coffee is like any kind of cheap product. You don't want to be sucking down low quality stuff. It's not expensive for some decent coffee. It's always good to get coffee that's more freshly roasted. Like some of the brands will actually have like their roasting date, so you're not getting old fucking coffee. And a lot of those like Folgers, and who knows how long they've been there. I personally like whole bean, like the way I like my coffee, however I'm blending it or just black. I prefer French press. That's how I like my coffee. It's a darker because you get all the oils and stuff. When you're soaking, cold brew is good too. You can make it at home. All you do is you grind up the coffee and you soak it for like 16 hours or so in the fridge. More caffeine and less acidity. So if you don't like the acidity in coffee, that's what I love that a lot. Instagram's going to cut off in a couple seconds, so I may or may not restart it, just so you know, like 10 seconds. But especially in Florida, in the summer, hot as fuck, cold brew is a real nice, a nice treat. You have that great value coffee. Oh shit. What, the Walmart? I don't know. I've never had it. I'm not going to sit here and just like make fun of like, you're eating shit. That's all right. I don't do any fancy coffee. Look, I drink a lot of coffee and I'm not going to spend a fortune on it. But what do I have? Oh, I get Pete's coffee. I get Pete's coffee, the Major Dickinson's blend or whatever it is. That has like a flavor that I like. I've been drinking that for a while. Yeah, there's different kinds of coffee. You can get really granular with a type of coffee and, the beans and where they're from and are they grown? Are they rubbed on a llama's taint before they're shipped? Did it get that llama taint? That llama taint rub? Did a fucking, what was it? What were those things called? Alpaca, did an alpaca jizz on it before they shipped it out? Yeah, coffee's a whole other, it's like any kind of topic or brand or industry. It's like when you go and you buy a new mattress or something and you start looking and researching mattresses, you realize, holy shit, there's an entire industry of people obsessed with mattresses and firmness and coils and rebound and like tension and all these things. You look up anything, whether it's an air conditioner, a mattress, a pen, a phone, a microphone, and you realize how deep the internet goes. You want to look up any one fucking thing and you actually want to get like the best one. You really want to look up reviews. There will be blogs. There will be fucking blogs and threads and forums on just the arms for microphones. Like this fucking arm for the microphone. Forget the microphone itself. You have like fucking a billion YouTube videos on microphones and stands and this and just gear and wires. Like, holy shit, when I'm buying a wire, I'm like, I'm not spending $100 on a fucking XLR cable. I'm not Usher. You know, and of course, they're like gold tipped and plated, and there's all this, and they're just fucking double reinforced, and they're super, you know, non-absorption and this. And yeah, you can get some shitty cables. I've had experiences with that. But, you know, you can go you can go off the fucking deep end. You can get lost. So anything, even coffee, you can get lost in that too. It depends on how much you want to spend. There's so many brands out there. I just haven't gone so far as like order coffee, but I've had coffee sent to me and different things, and there's some good shit out there, so you can Google it. I just started drinking coffee black, not bad. It's great. You know what's great about black coffee? Yeah, it might be an acquired taste. I equate black coffee kind of like, it's like wine or whiskey, in the sense that the first time you have it, you're like, might be like, but then you sip it a little bit and then all of a sudden, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden you just normalize to it. And then when you drink it regularly, then you start noticing the differences, because I like good scotch, and you start noticing, oh, I noticed that when you just taste it when it's a little bit more sweet, or it's a little smoother, or it's a little more rich. And then you have, for example, the coffees, when you have it black, you can't, if you're blending it, you're putting shit in it, you can't tell, you know, oh, this tastes so much different. You can't tell. You have to have it straight. You have to have it done right. But then if you really get hardcore into coffee, Google some hardcore coffee shit. If you really want to get lost, you have people that are brewing and they're taking the temperature of the water before they pour the, holy shit. There's some people that will measure the temperature, and like if it's like 104 degrees or whatever the fuck they do, you know, and it's crazy how fucking intense you can get with it. And I'm sure if you go to one of these little craft places and they do all that detail and you're watching them, it's like a presentation. It's like when a bartender is shaking and doing flair, when they're doing the whole thing. And I'm sure the coffee tastes amazing. But I've had coffee where I've been to one of these little, you know, hipster shops or whatever, and they do all this whole thing. And I'm like, all right, it tastes like coffee. It's good, I guess. But it's more like the presentation or the idea or the concept in this. But there's so many different kinds. You just find what you like. I heard there's this coffee that's really expensive made from bobcat poop. I've heard that too. It's like, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, it's like really expensive and they filter it through, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, there's some, a coffee barista. That's right. A coffee bartender, a barista. I love how they had their own name, a barista. I was a barista after one of my summers for college, a barista. Yeah, you know how much of a barista I was? I took a cup and they said, I want a dark roast. I turned around, I pulled the lever down, the dark roast came out, and I turned and I said, $1.95. And they gave me $1.95. I was a barista. I poured coffee. Nah, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, I would make, you make cappuccinos and espressos and all that stuff. But I didn't do it for a big, place. I did it for a small little coffee shop in the town where I was living. So it was different. At least I didn't have like this freaking corporate structure. It was just like, the owner was there. So it was cool. What's your opinion on fake naturals spreading false hope? It's like anyone else lying to people. What do I think? I mean, if they're, you can't, there's no limit to human stupidity. So if they're blatantly saying that they're natural and they're not, then they're assholes, they're liars, or pieces of shit, and it'll bite them in the ass eventually. But if they aren't saying anything about it, and kids and people aren't, savvy enough to realize, people need to get more educated. So, it's like blaming a 5-year-old for not knowing trigonometry. It's like he's fucking 5. He hasn't learned it yet or wanted to study it yet. That's, you're talking to like, hey, 18-year-old thinks this, an 18-year-old is looking up to someone on YouTube and, oh my God, they're natural. It's like, I mean, they're going to have to learn. They can learn by fucking going to the gym for 20 fucking years, lifting hard, and be like, yeah, you get good results. Like, I have great results, and I'm not even taking to be honest, I'm not even taking my training super fucking seriously. I have so many obligations and priorities with what I'm doing here, like my personal training. Like I'm lifting and I'm kind of maintaining. I go through phases because I burn out and I have to be up late a couple nights. I'll take a couple days off. I'll do more yoga and mobility. So I'm shifting my training around a little bit to help all of you. And I'm providing a lot of content. I'm passing it on. But me lifting heavy and fucking like my body and my physique being the most important thing in my life, honestly, I'm being honest, it's not my number one. It is, but it's right next to Swole Normus. It's right next to the brand. So I've never been in front of a computer and I've never edited this much fucking shit in my life. It used to be just like my physique and just fucking lifting was my life. Like that was it. But then when I started this, it just became my passion. So I'm doing both. But yeah, I'm not spending as much time. Like my whole world doesn't revolve around all that like as being the primary. It's part of what I'm doing. So, I mean, you go through different phases. So, you can see a lot of progress doing it naturally, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of people aren't honest about it. And anyone that really does train hard long enough and sees progress and realizes what it takes, and you see some of these fucking people, the way they look, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. There's good genetics and being full of shit. Okay? So for example, for people like Simeon Panda and those people, yeah, I mean, look, people have great genetics, but when you have great genetics and you take stuff, you fucking get amazing results. You can't take steroids and get new muscle bellies or new tendon insertions. Like you have the shape of your muscle kind of genetically. You have the length of you have that foundational structure. You're not going to look like someone else because you take juice. You're going to develop maximally for your insertions, your muscle lengths, your ratios and shit like that. So when you combine great genetics with maybe not even that much extra, doesn't mean they're taking that much juice. And here's another thing, just because you're not maybe massive doesn't mean you're not taking. If you're taking anabolic steroids and you're limiting your caloric intake, you're not going to bulk up a lot. You can get really shredded and fucking hard and be taking gear. That's where people really fuck up. And that's where people really don't get how anabolics work. They think, oh, he's taking steroids as if it's like one fucking thing. There's a lot of anabolics. A steroid is just a molecule. It's a chemical. It's a messenger that enters the cell. And it delivers a message to do X, Y, and Z. And different messengers do different things. Different anabolic steroids do different things. So not all of them, and then not all of them will will blow you up. Some of them just get you strong as fuck and get you hard and lean and freaking ripped. So when you see people that are just fucking getting stronger and stronger and getting leaner and leaner, yeah, not natural, not normal. That's not how the body works. So there's a lot of shit in between. So not only that, different steroids do different things. And then how much are you taking? And then your sleep and your training habits and your genetics and how much you're eating. So it's like, if you're taking anabolic steroids and you're sleeping a lot and you're eating big and you're training big, it's like, yeah, you can get fucking enormous. We've seen that. You can also not do a crazy caloric intake. You can also not take quite as much or take certain ones and get fucking lean, ripped, and shredded and still be in like a weight range where, oh, the person looks like a fitness model or a physique competitor or, oh, whatever. So, yeah, shocker. It's a huge shocker that people are full of shit. No way, really? Someone's lying? No. A human being lying? Get the fuck out of here. Lance Armstrong, Alex Rodriguez, all these fucking people fucking juicing and just lying about it. It's like, nah, fuck it. And you don't think some YouTuber that's lifting, that's getting paid for like subs and ad spend and like sponsorship, you don't think they're fucking juicing? Right? I love how everyone's like, oh, the CrossFit games, no one's taking. all these professional sports, people are getting busted all the time for taking shit, and all of a sudden that one's just the clean one. There's just a magic clean, no one's juicing and just performing ridiculous shit. Get the fuck out of here. You're smoking some serious fucking shit. Like, seriously, everyone always, look, we're so gullible. Why are human beings so fucking gullible? Why do we have such a short memory? Why are we just so fucking stupid? I think maybe history classes, I think maybe history is the most important thing. We ignore history but I'm not even talking about World War II. It's important to remember what the Nazis did. Yeah, it sure is. It's also important to remember what happened like 10 years ago. Like 5 years ago, 20 years ago. What about shit like September 11th, right? You know, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole too much, but remember how paranoid and everything were fucking like this? I mean, just let it go. No, over. Like, the memory it goes away. It goes away. It's just, we just forget things and just go on and like, oh, it happened. Yeah, we know, but like, okay, the building's gone, the new one's there. And all right, it's just, I mean, we have to move on from like tragedies and stuff. We have to, there's no other option. Like, life goes on, but it's just amazing how it's just, we talk about it so much as everything. And now we just remember it like every other year. It's like, oh, the 20th anniversary, 2021, it's going to be a big thing on fucking TV or the internet for a day or for like 6 hours. And then it'll get bumped because the news cycle is like fucking 6 hours. Just things are just gone. It's just, but you think that all of a sudden everyone's just saying, you think that CrossFit's clean. Bullshit. You think that fitness and YouTube is clean. Bullshit. Like, fucking bullshit. Bullshit. I love it when people think that, especially nowadays, when you don't have to have a contract with a company. You don't have to be drafted to the NFL to get like, whoa, I understand. Like, you want to get drafted, you're taking juice and you're trying to make it to the big leagues and shit, whatever sport it is. Okay. You're trying to do whatever you can to get there because that's where the big money is. But now when you can make just big money on YouTube and the internet and there's no rules and no one cares because you're not competing. There's no drug test for Instagram. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they started like piss testing? They started testing for YouTube. Like, you can't make YouTube videos. You get random drug tests for YouTube, random drug tests for Instagram. You can't post fitness pictures. You get a random person. You got to piss in this cup, son. You're posting gym selfies. You gotta piss. I saw you posted another urinal selfie, Papa Swole. Your biceps looking a little plump. Was that Photoshop? You got those Adobe gains? Yeah? Here's a cup, motherfucker. Testing for posting. Right? That's where it would have to go. And it's like, as ridiculous that is, why wouldn't you? Hey, if I get really shredded and big, people follow me and everyone's going to love this and people are going to love the post and I can just say, yeah, hard work, natty. And then I'm going to get sponsors and I'm going to get followers and people fucking do it. Can trick a lot of people, especially young. Who's using the internet the most? Fucking kids. They don't know any better. Real question, Swolio, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I still have such a problem calling it intermittent fasting. I like just calling it fasting. I don't know why. I just don't like the word intermittent. It's like, I don't know. You're eating or you're not eating. If you're intentionally not eating, you're fasting. I don't know. I just never liked the word intermittent. It's like, oh, I'm fasting intermittently. What's the difference? I guess fasting, like, I don't know. I mean, if there's a technical difference, I would say fasting is 24 hours or longer, like when you're consistently doing a longer. I just like talking about the word fasting and then saying how long you're doing it for. A 24-hour fast, you can call it a 16-hour fast. If you want to call it intermittent fasting and call it 16-8, fine. I'll call it fasting for 16 hours. I just don't like the word. I don't know why. It just bothers me. I think it's because it's thrown around like a fad when it's literally like a physiological evolutionary thing. I think it's good. I think fasting's great. Just use the word fasting and then how long are you doing it for? I think it's great. I like doing fasting. I usually do it for the most part. I usually do more of like a caloric restriction because I do have things like bulletproof coffee and stuff, so it's not really fasting. But I do like to do like I'll do days where I severely cut my calories down, so it might just be that. It might just be like bulletproof coffee and maybe like a little bit, because sometimes I don't plan it. I'm just like, oh, I didn't really work out today. I don't feel like eating. I'm just like, I'll fast today. So it's not really a fast in some cases, but caloric restriction is really good. It's very similar. Fasting is just no food. I think it's great. And I've gotten more into it more lately because my goal hasn't been to get huge. I'm at this point. I know this podcast is going long, so if you're still with me, I just feel like we're rolling here, so I appreciate you guys staying for the conversation. I mean, if you don't want to stay, you don't have to, but we're just going to keep on going as long as it floats. But when it comes to fasting, I'm more into it lately, in the past like several months, because of my increasing time investment into Swolenormous and the brand and what I'm doing. Just my interest, my passion, my direction is more and more towards doing a lot of editing and doing. So, I mean, literally it's editing, it's putting out content, it's creating, it's not really conducive to me sitting there. Cause look, when I was bulking, literally bulking, I tell everyone it's not healthy. I don't look back and be like, oh, that was the best decision I made. It's like eating a lot of fucking food all the time, gorging. It's not the best way to do things. It's not the best for your body, especially dirty bulking. I wasn't doing that, but I definitely gained a lot of fat at the beginning. I didn't realize I was just doing a lot extra until I saw a picture of myself. Oh shit, I was overdoing it. So I cut back. But now my goal isn't to get as huge because it takes a lot of effort. Anyone that's trying to bulk, any of them that are trying to build, I mean, drop in the comments below if you've been bulking, if you are bulking. It's hard work. No one builds muscle by accident. It's hard work. It's relentless. It's difficult to build muscle, and a lot of muscle to bulk and put on mass. It takes a lot of, when I say it takes time, I'm not just saying that like, oh, it takes a lot of time. Got to put in your effort. No, it literally takes time. Like, you can't eat all those calories and put on muscle that fast. You're only going to put on a couple pounds a month, maybe. Like, it takes time to accumulate. And then not to mention plateaus and, hopefully no injuries and hopefully no crashes or overtraining, or, I mean, there's a lot of factors. Like, you have to be relentlessly consistent. It's not going to take you 2 months or 3 months. I bulked for 3 months. No, you didn't. You put on a little bit of muscle maybe, and now you're going to lose it because you have to build these adaptations relentlessly. It takes fucking months and years, depending on how much you're trying to put on. So it's a lot of effort, and I just don't have it in me. At least right now, I just don't have it in me right now to do that kind of overload in my training, to do that kind of like, I don't fucking deadlift like I used to. I don't crush myself like I used to. It's just my brain has shifted a little bit, and my approach to training has shifted because my priorities my fitness and my health is still top priority, but it's now sharing with a lot of other responsibilities that I have, like a lot of you have, when you have kids or other jobs and other passions. Like, luckily for me, I shouldn't say luckily, I created it, but fortunately, I've been successful in creating Swolenormous and this brand, the podcast, and it's in line with everything that I love doing. I love training. I love talking about fitness and lifestyle and nutrition. I love having these discussions. So I'm fortunate that it goes in line with that. That's why I created what I did. But it still takes a shitload of time, and it's a lot of, and often, or whenever I'm skipping, it's like, oh, I'm tired, and I might take a day off from the gym and do mobility and foam rolling and stretching instead because, for example, if I was up late editing and finishing something and I'm like, the next day I'm like, oh, I feel sluggish. I need to rest more. I don't feel like, I'm just not up to it. So I'll take a day off. So I'm working out less, but not less because I'm just, I don't care about fitness, but I'm giving myself more recovery because I'm aware of the additional stress and the additional, I don't want to go to the gym and crush myself when I'm fucking exhausted. If I didn't get sleep, I don't want to go and beat the shit up of myself. I want to recover. So it might throw me off for a day or two. Like, for example, if I stayed up all night, I don't recommend it, but if something happened, I had to just get something done, I might take that next day off or maybe 2 days off to reset, to make sure my shit's in order, or go, I have to do it my way. So, and I'm sure you can all appreciate that and respect that. And So I'm going after in this phase and this what I'm into now. What I mean by that, I should say what I'm into, but what I've really found my passion, like my direction. Like I love working on mobility. I really love yoga. I love my training. I'm still lifting heavy. I'm not doing the same types of splits I was doing. I mix it up all the time, and I mix up my programming splits based on my emotions. I still go to the gym. That's my discipline, but how I feel and how my overload and how my stress is in my life overall, I adjust my acute stress on my muscles depending on that type of stress. So I adjust my splits accordingly to, what kind of like psychological investment I can give to my training. So I'll have to speak on that a little bit more, but I do a lot of that with the programming and program design and Swolenormous X. A lot of that reflects what I use, whether I'm doing upper body, lower body, or push pull, or I'll do, supersets, upper body. I mix it up a lot differently sometimes, based on, yeah, exactly. Being aware of the whole self. Exactly. So I'm still doing my resistance training, but if I'm really stressed out and I'm exhausted, I'll do more mobility. I'll do a deloading week because your brain is stressed. Like you might need to deload, and I'll do total body like stabilization exercise, and I'll do a lot of yoga, and then I'll get back into training. And I'll go heavier. I go with the season, but I definitely listen to my body and adjust accordingly. So that's good stuff. Oh, you just reminded me, is there such a thing as too much yoga? Yeah, there's such a thing as too much anything. I wanted to do yoga today and go into it for a few hours. Can I hurt myself doing it? Yes. Or is it just pointless doing it too long? Well, what do you mean by why would you do it for a few hours? Like, are you going to do a class? Like, how are you going to do yoga for a few hours? Just going to do nonstop like vinyasas, or there are different types of yoga. So I'm just going to go out and just say, because if I have to give a definitive answer, yes, you could do too much yoga. But I mean, if you're doing yin yoga and passive yoga, I mean, you can do that. As long as you're adapted to it and you've built up to it, you're less likely to hurt yourself. Like you can do an hour and a half, 2 hours of a yin class if you're used to doing yin class, because those are deep stretches for long holds. So, a few hours just sounds like stretching. If you're just kind of doing different positions and stretching, that's different. But as long as your body, there's really no wrong move. And there's really no wrong exercise. And there's really, honestly, when it comes to overtraining, there's really no wrong frequency, because as much as you'll say, oh, you're overtraining, you're doing this, there's always that one person, well, I know this guy and he runs a marathon every other day. You're like, well, some people are freaks of fucking nature for one thing or another. So it's really hard sometimes to say definitively one thing's right or wrong, but you could do anything too much. I wouldn't recommend doing power yoga for 3 fucking hours, for example. What's the best exercise for bigger, more biceps? There's no best exercise. Curls, bicep curls. Stick to the basics. Don't forget your deadlifts. Don't forget your pull-ups and all your basic heavy exercises. Biceps or curls, motherfucker. Curls for the girls. Straight, it's not complicated. Just got to go hard enough. Preacher curls are great. Different angles are great, but you have to be consistent, progressively overloading. It's kind of stupid. Oh, you got the definition. The definition of intermittent is occurring at irregular intervals, not continuous or steady. Yeah, so you're fasting for 20. Look, breakfast, the name breakfast. If you eat breakfast, break fast. So you're breaking your fast. That's what it means. The name of the fucking meal is break fast. So technically, anytime you sleep, you're fasting because you're not eating. So just use the word, fuck intermittent fasting. Just call it fasting and then say how long. I fast for 16 hours every day. Okay, I like that. I don't know why that word intermittent just fucking gets under my nerves. Gets on my nerves, not under. It gets under my skin, but on my nerves. That's how it works, right? If something gets under your skin, it's on top of your nerves. So it's on my nerves and it's under my skin. It's both. Huh. Those two analogies actually work together in harmony. How long do you bulk for? A year at a time? I don't bulk right now. How long can you? You can bulk for endless amounts of time. Usually people like to do it in cycles. So it keeps your hormones more balanced. I'm doing yoga for beginners on YouTube. It's been a few years. Well, if it's been a few years, then you shouldn't be doing 3 hours of yoga. I wanted to work out the kinks and do yoga for a few hours and then work out and all that. No. What, for a few hours and then work out? No. I would do a workout and do yoga for like half an hour or an hour maybe. If you're just getting back into that, no. Don't do yoga for a few hours. Yeah, a couple hours. Shit. Anyway, yeah, pace yourself, especially getting back into something. All right, that's it, fam. Love you guys. Thanks for the long episode. It was awesome. Good questions, good engagement. I hope you enjoyed something. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you took something from this episode. I know it was a long one, but those of you that stuck with me the whole way, I appreciate it. Kind of fleshed everything out. Had some things to say. Had some thoughts to kind of get out of my brain hole, and I think we came up with some good shit. But yeah, always be learning. Always be looking for the best by you, and do it for the right reasons, and be truthful, be authentic, and shit's going to go your way. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 1004 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because, of course, when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. See you tomorrow for 1005. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoose. Oh, don't forget to go check out the brand new YouTube drop, DWG, YouTube at Swolenormous. Subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for 1005. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoose. Your boy, Papa Swole. Out.